Hey, all, welcome to Eat Stay Life. I'm your host, Seth, and let's get into the finer things. So, this is going to be our ninth episode, and we're going to cover Stillwater Tavern American Scratch Kitchen, which is out of downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. Got a chance to go down there and eat there during the holiday season. So, for all of y'all that haven't seen my face made for radio, for the last few times, that's basically because over the holiday season ran some videos that we already had and just kind of condensed them down and made some quick episodes for you guys to enjoy and let you be able to hopefully get some joy out of those, from helicopter trips going over the island of Kauai to a couple other episodes that were made out there. So anyway, Stillwater Tavern, American Scratch Kitchen in downtown St. Petersburg. Great part is it's blocks from the St. Pete Pier. So if you're coming to St. Petersburg, if you're coming to the Tampa Bay area, great place to visit. And you can absolutely hit this spot up if you want. Again, the Stillwaters Tavern, American Scratch Kitchen. It's off of Bay Street, really close to the pier. So one of the things that I noticed when we went there to eat, and I'm not gonna lie, I've eaten there a couple times, is they definitely lean into kind of a southern flair. Yeah, it's a scratch kitchen, but it also kind of feels like a tavern pub type thing going on, but more of a hipster edge to it. One of the things that immediately catches your attention, they've got great seating out on the outside, out on the street, kind of like a bistro style seating that's really cool, where you can be out. You're right across from a fine arts museum in downtown St. Pete. You can see the water. You can go all the way down to the pier, what have you. Additionally, on top of that, the seating on the inside is fantastic as well. Service is phenomenal. I have never had bad service there. Good food. And one of the things that immediately catches your eye is the fact that they've got a pig and a fish as one of their emblems. The reason why that's funny to me is because out in the Gulf, you can catch what's called a hogfish. So because they do land and sea, it's a hogfish. But if you're not paying attention, you just think maybe it's just their symbol, but y'all, it's a hogfish up on the wall. That said, so just kind of diving right in. So one of the first things we did was we ordered our appetizers, and what we ordered was the smoked fish spread, which is made in-house, and the deviled eggs, which deviled eggs are kind of like a go-to for me. And the thing that really caught my eye is that they do deviled eggs with the pickled jalapenos on top. So, for me, deviled eggs, either you screw them up, and likely means the rest of the time that you're eating there, you're going to be like, yeah, okay, we're going to have some food. Or they're serviceable and you're going to get a serviceable meal, or you're going to have a deviled egg that absolutely knock it out of the park. It tastes like something either that your mom would make at home when they were doing the church picnic, or you were going to have at a family picnic. And those are some of my favorite ones to eat at, because if they come out and it tastes like something that your mom would make, you know that the remainder of the meal, even if it's made by a high-end chef, is going to have that extra touch of passion and love in it that makes it feel more like a home-cooked meal. And when you get into something that calls itself an American Scratch Kitchen, that's kind of where you want to see them lean into, is more like a home-cooked meal vibe with elevated dining experience. So the smoked fish spread was absolutely dynamite. They clearly do a phenomenal job with this fish that they utilize. I'm trying to remember the name of the fish that they had that day on the menu, and I can't remember what it was, but it's specific to Florida, the Gulf area. It was really, really flavorful. Like I said, the smoke was absolutely fantastic. Like every bite you took, it wasn't fishy; it was smoky with a little bit of hint of fish. The deviled eggs were absolutely knocking out of the park again. It tasted like what mom would make it, with a pickled jalapeno on top, which is just that little bright flash of heat. And if you've had a pickled jalapeno, which if you've had nachos at, someplace like 7-Eleven, you've probably had pickled jalapenos, just saying. And it was just this great little kind of like flash of heat, flash of spice. It was really nice on the palate. Then we also ordered our drinks, and we also ordered our meals, which in the meals we got the tavern pot roast, and also we got the meatloaf. And I'm the one who ordered the meatloaf. Now, I'm not one to go out and say, hey, yay, meatloaf, but I'm also one to say, looking at everything, I wanted to go somewhat sideways instead of what I normally go after, which is like, steaks and things of that nature. And so I went after the meatloaf. And again, when the meatloaf arrived, it had these little like crispy onion straws on top, but it also apparently had like little jalapeno pieces in there, which was really nice. They're breaded and fried up, so it's really nice when you get a little piece of those, because like I said, you're not only getting that nice meatloaf umami comfort food type thing that you got, kind of reminds you of sitting down at the table at grandma's or mom and dad's, and getting that meatloaf that you just slice into, and it's meat, it's meaty, it tastes good with a little bit of that tomato sauce on top, so you get that little sweet kind of pop from the tomato, but then you get that really nice umami comfort food filling, really nice, and it's a loaf, so it's fun because you're kind of like you're eating a piece of meat bread. It was fantastic. I don't know how to explain meatloaf other than if you've had it, you've had it. If you haven't had meatloaf, you're missing out in your life. It's a great dish. It also came with their mashed potatoes, which mashed potatoes, again, are mashed potatoes. But when you pair that with a meatloaf, there's just something about that kind of takes you back to your own experience as a child, for me, of sitting down at mom and dad's table or grandma and grandpa's table and just having a really nice meal with the family. Outside of that, also the pot roast was really well done. Now, the thing that's caught me about the pot roast and why it's an American scratch kitchen was the fact that pot roast is quintessential Americana. I mean, you go up into the Northeast, into the former colonies, and you're going to find pot roast is on the menu. You go throughout any of the original colonies, and you go and you find pot roast is on the menu. It's just kind of been a staple of American cuisine. So when they had pot roast on the menu, the tavern pot roast is absolutely dynamite. The sauce and the gravy sauce that's on there that comes with a pot roast, absolutely fantastic. The carrots and the celery and the onions and everything were perfectly cooked. The carrots had a little bit of a al dente crisp to them, but soft enough that you didn't have a crunch and you bit into them, and it was just really, really good. Again, and then as far as the drinks are concerned, I was the only one basically ordering drinks that day, just because of the fact that everybody had kind of like imbibed a little bit the night before, and so they weren't really up for it, and I hadn't. So I went for the drink number 22, which is made with High West whiskey, cold brew coffee, and bitters. And anybody who has watched this channel knows that I rave about whiskey, and I rave, there you go. My mo better English tells me I wave about things. And if you have a speech impediment, I apologize. I'm not trying to offend. My brain. That said, so I rave about the fact that I love a good old fashioned. And if I'm not getting a good old fashioned, I'm usually just going to go get some, like a straight up, 1 or 2 ounce pour of bourbon or whiskey, and just have it on the side and coax it down with maybe a little bit of the water, ice water with it. So that said, the thing that kind of caught me here was the drink number 22 was tasty, and it was cold brew, and I would definitely order it again, but that was the only thing on the menu that caught my eye that I would want to order, because everything else kind of leaned into more of that, like, Negroni type feel of drink, where it wasn't a whiskey drink. It was more of a hipster gin drink or something or vodka drink, which not really my jam or my vibe, which when you have pictures of Blanton's and Weller up on the bar walls, like decorative photos, hand-drawn portraits of Weller's and Blanton's and Buffalo Trace, you expect it to lean into the whiskey bar side of things, and that was really the only thing on the drink menu that caught my eye that felt like a whiskey drink. And then when I looked and asked them about an old-fashioned, they didn't have an old-fashioned on the menu. So definitely a disappointment in that aspect. That said, still would recommend, if you get a chance, you're in St. Petersburg, Florida, you're looking for a great place just to go grab a bite to eat. They serve brunch on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, so definitely a great brunch spot to go hit as well. So, I mean, I would not recommend going to this place. There's my double negative. I would not recommend that you go to this place. I would definitely recommend that you hit this place up. It is worth the stop. It is worth the bite to eat. They're flavorful. Definitely feels kind of like home cooking with an elevated experience from the staff in the back and from the staff who are serving. They're busy, so be prepared. Definitely call ahead and make a reservation if you can. That said, though, the only kind of disappointment I have is that with whiskey kind of being a theme that you see when you're looking over at their bar and their menu is not whiskey themed, it kind of throws you for a loop. And so I was looking for that old fashioned. I mean, there's some basic staples that you expect. You expect a Manhattan, you expect an old fashioned, maybe perhaps a Boulevardier. That said, there was nothing on the menu that spoke to that. The closest thing I saw was this drink number 22, which is the High West Cold Brew and Bitters. Absolutely worth your time, though. Would recommend going and eat there. It was a good drink. I was glad it was in the early afternoon, so having some cold brew with whiskey was actually a pretty nice little touch there with the bitters. That said, yeah, give Stillwater Taverns a check and check them out. Go give them a taste. And if I were to make any recommendations to Stillwater's Tavern, I'd definitely say maybe add a couple more whiskey drinks that are actual whiskey drinks that a whiskey drinker or a bourbon drinker, when you walk in through the door and you say, hey, do you have an old fashioned? Do you have a Manhattan? That server can look right at that person and say, absolutely, we have our twist or our little take on it, and here it is. And that way, it kind of goes with the decor that you have up. That said, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content I'm putting out. Again, I ask you to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel or subscribe on the Rumble channel. We're on rumble.com as well under at EatStayLife. We're also over on Instagram. So if you're over on Instagram and you're seeing this on Instagram, please don't forget to go to YouTube or Rumble and like and subscribe over there. But don't forget to follow the channel, because following the channel is paramount to continuing this forward and help me get more content out to you guys like good whiskey. So like the good whiskey and good cigars. Oh, and I might add that it has come to my attention that Arturo Fuentes has let out a new opus. So might have to do a cigar review very, very soon here. Again, Seth with EatStayLife. It was a pleasure doing life with y'all. Cheers. Oh, that Michter's is always good.